We are continuing with our series, God Questions, asking the big questions of life, and I have a deep theological question that I need you to ponder this morning. It is this. Go ahead, Ben. How do you like your chili? I like my chili chunky, like this. You know, you got the onions. I'm not talking like diced onions. I'm like chunks of onions, chunks of peppers, like the beans and the meat. I don't want any soupy stuff. It's got to be thick. Now, I'm not a spicy guy. Some of you like it spicy. How many like it spicy? That's why God made, never mind. I don't. I'm a wimp. But I like bold, robust flavor. There's lots of different ways to make chili. You probably have your own favorite recipe. Maybe you like beans. Maybe you don't like beans. I love beans. I got to have it with a side of Beano, though. I like with meat. But see, chili is all embracing. It welcomes you vegetarians in here, and it says, you know what? You can go without the meat, and you can still have chili. Isn't that awesome? Or you could try to be healthy and do the ground up turkey meat. However, lots of different ways of doing chili. My favorite is actually my wife's. No flattery intended. It's just the truth. She found a recipe. You put in chunks of sweet potatoes. Oh, I didn't think it would work. Oh man, that stuff is good. That's good. See, there's all these different types of chilies, right? Now, if you show up with some broth and chicken and noodles, we go, that's not chili. We know that's not chili. But all these different varieties, they can be having all different types of ingredients. We go, now that's chili. Lots of different varieties, but we know and understand what is and what is not chili. That's how we think about it. Sometimes this is the way that we can think about religions. Right? And it seems to make sense. It goes, aren't all religions the same? Aren't they all just chili? Some have beans, some have meat, some have the vegetables in it, some are chunky, some are watery. It's okay. There's some spicy, there are some not. They're all chili, right? They all kind of do the same thing, so it's okay. If we can recognize all this variances in religion or in chili, can't we do that with religions? You're here, you have some affinity to Christianity, but really, I could have picked something else and it'd have been just as fine. That's just a different type of chili, right? It sounds right. But today we're going to try and unpeel this here, peel this back and go, wait a minute, not quite so fast. And where we have to begin is actually with this question itself. We have to go, what's the real question? See, when we talk about, is there God or isn't there God, that's pretty straightforward, right? We get the playing field, okay? We know what's at stake. When someone asks the question, whether you've asked it or someone has come to you and asked this, going, aren't all the religions really the same? That's a tricky question. There's a lot of different layers to this. What exactly are you looking for? What are you really trying to ask in that question? Are you asking which religion is the right one, or is there no right one? Well, what does that even mean for a religion to be right? What's the category? What's the test? You might go, well, I'm trying to ask, is there one religion that's true over against the other ones? Well, what do we mean by true there? Because we understand we are not working on a scientific basis. Science has a very narrow scope of view. Everything that they can fit into a box and control, they can figure out or try to figure out, right? And that's fine. They know a lot of stuff. The problem is that, religion and God just won't get inside their box. It's not something that you can control. And so this is why this is a journey of faith, and it's broader than that. And so we can talk about true things or untrue, but is that really what we're trying to get at? Are you asking, well, does it work? If there are 7 billion people on the planet and hundreds of millions of different followers of different religions, can't they all just why don't they just all get along? They seem to be working for them and ours worked for us, and just let everybody be as they are. Is it working? Is it fair? Some people dismiss religions on that. Or are we asking a question of going, how do religions inform us on how we ought to live? Right? How does it help me make sense of my life and move down the road in my journey? Lots of different layers to this question. We can't obviously deal with all these. We're going to take one small sliver here. Let's look at this sliver of going, how do we live? Because if we think about lots of different religions, we kind of come up with this graph. So each color is like a different religion, right? And we'd lay them all down and we go, obviously they're not all the same. There's lots of differences. There are parts that's all they are. They have this creation story. They have this book. Nobody else has that book. There are parts that are unique to them. But we would go, religions kind of overlap. Some overlap on a few things, but they all, in general, overlap in the center because religion is about one thing primarily, and that's how to live. Or we would go, religion is morality, right? It is how should I live? And so if we go back to this, that portion that kind of overlaps, we would go, that's the chili, right? That's what we know is the chili. Got lots of differences, but at the very core, everybody's teaching roughly the same thing. There's no major religion out there going, the way to live life? Just be really mean and ornery. That will get you a long ways. You know what? Tell lies. Lies are great. No religion does that. No moral teacher has ever kind of showed up and said, ditch compassion, be unloving. Every religion kind of goes, you know what? You ought to be a decent person. You ought to treat people fair. You ought to not lie. You ought to take care of some folks. You ought to take care of the folks that are in kind of troubled situations. There is this core of morality that we would go, see, it's chili. They all share that. That's the slice that I want to look at today. Okay? So let's just look at a couple of these, kind of some big categories here. Really quickly, I need you to put on your thinking caps here. Hang with me for a few minutes as we work through some categories. This is a little thicker stuff, but I like the thick chili, okay? All right, so we would go, let's talk about an Eastern religion, Hinduism. That's a huge, huge religion. They love everything in their chili. They put beans, they put 3 types of meats, they put every type of vegetable you can put in it. They've got every type of God under the sun. If you don't have one that you like, you go ahead and make up one. Because they kind of go, there is this big idea of what God is, but there's all these different kind of individual expressions of it, and you find what works for you, and that's fine with us. And that's fine. So it's a very unique and eclectic type of religion. But here's what that religion does. It says, we are concerned with how you live, because the problem in life is this. We believe in karma and reincarnation. Now, karma, you might recognize that word. That's kind of a hot topic word here, especially among younger generations, of going, that's really cool. It says this in a nutshell. You do what's wrong, bad things will happen to you. You do what's right, and good things will happen to you. And you're like, man, Mom and Dad taught me that. That sounds pretty good. I like that. That's probably right in our shared thing here with Christianity. It talks a little bit about like that, of going, I get good for good, bad for bad. Here's the problem. They go, but we also believe in reincarnation. And what happens is, maybe if you do bad now, you might not get the bad now, but you will eventually. We're kind of like daisies. We just keep on popping up time and time again. You can't get rid of us. And whatever happens, whatever I do now, shows up in another life. And it pays one for one. There's no leeway. You do what's wrong, you're going to get it. If you do what's right, you get rewarded. So here's how it works out. If you get born and you're a cripple, you're poor, you're down and out in life, you know what everybody else thinks? Oh man, what did you do to deserve that? I don't need to help you. Look at what I got born with. I obviously did some good stuff before, so I deserve this. That's why they have a whole caste system, and they don't help one another out. You want to help yourself out? You do it. Start behaving right, and you'll get good. If you don't, you're going to get the stick. You're going to get this junky life, and you just got to go through the misery of it and hopefully do it a little bit better so next time you get a better chance. That's it. That's how it works. So everything that they do is about improving their circumstance, and it's up to them. And so they have whole sheets on going, this is how to be more disciplined. This is about how to do more religious exercises so that you can impress the gods. This is, you can live a moral life. That could impress you. But it is stuff that you have to do to help yourself out. That's what Hinduism is. Now, a guy started a group out of Hinduism that started thinking about this and going, I don't know if this is quite right. You guys are working really, really hard at trying to straighten yourself to improve your situation, but I don't think that's what's going on. He eventually starts Buddhism. Now, Buddhism agrees with Hinduism of going, you know what? It's about karma and reincarnation. It is this problem that just kind of keeps on going. Reincarnation, when we think about it in the West, we're like, hey, we get multiple tries. It's the problem. It's like a bus you can't get off. You've got to keep on trying to improve yourself so you can get off this bus, because this bus is misery. Life is hard. Life is suffering. And the Buddha said the problem is not to continue to try and get better situations to come back to. It's to lose yourself. He says the number one problem is you. You are your biggest problem. Your desires, your passions, your things that just kind of get all out of crazy and control. And we go, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. We say that in Christianity. We agree with that of going, you know what? Our passions and our desires and what we want and putting ourselves at the center of our universe tends to be our problem. Now, Buddha goes, the goal is to behave correctly, to be disciplined, to bring your life in order, so that, not that you improve your situation, but that eventually you get off the bus and you disappear into the nothingness so that you no longer suffer. It is like putting a drop of water back into the ocean. I don't know why Buddhism ever really took root here in the United States. We are absolute individualists, and Buddhism is the absolute opposite of that, going, your individuality is your problem, and the goal is to lose that and to avoid suffering. But to accomplish that, there is no God, there's no one helping you, there are no practices, you've got to deal with yourself, and it's all up to you. If you get a junky life, that's your fault. Don't go blaming anybody else. Okay? Now, they have a lot of great moral beliefs. We agree with a lot of things that they would say, love and compassion and doing what's right. But this is why they pursue that. Now, let's go on the other side. A little further west here, in Mideast religion, we'd have Islam. Islam is a theist religion like us. They believe, okay, there is a God. There's a God, it's not just that exists, but that engages us and is involved in our life. And they have a whole understanding of who God is. He is an absolute God. He is a powerful God. He cannot be persuaded or changed. He is kind of untouchable. He is absolute power, complete sovereignty. And so the number one thing he requires of you is obedience to his list of going, this is the right way to live. And either you get in line with that or you get the ultimate stick. All right? There's kind of two ways about it. You have to satisfy his requirements. Now, the religion helps you out. It gives you kind of 5 practices that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to pray 3 times a day. You're supposed to say his name, a phrase so many times a day. You're supposed to do a once in your lifetime travel to the holy city there. So they give you some things to do, But here's the issue is that, see, this God isn't really close. He is just absolute, and you're hoping you have done enough. You're hoping that you have met the requirements so that when you go to face him, he goes, okay, you did enough. But you're never really quite sure. Now, they give a lot of great moral teaching. Islam has gotten it in a bad way here over the last decade or so, and there are radical elements that go way overboard on one way, and they ought to be spoken down. But there's also a part of Islam that has a very strong moral order that we would agree with them on a number of things. So one of their key things is that hospitality is a big deal. You take care of your neighbors. You take care of strangers, even people you don't know. That is a moral imperative. And we go, yeah, that's right. You're supposed to take care of people. But you better satisfy what God wants. Now, we kind of come into modern times and we have this group called the New Age group. And it's a squishy category. There's a lot of different groups kind of in this. But essentially what all of them are doing is saying, you know what? Whether or not you believe in a God isn't the thing. It's whether or not you believe in yourself. This is about you. I don't need necessarily help from someone else. If you want to believe in that, that's fine. They don't necessarily squash that. But this is about you realizing yourself. And so their big concept is it's believing in yourself. You can do anything you want. You can become anything that you want. You've got the power. You have control of your life. You are your inner light. What you need to be is true to yourself. And if you're true to yourself, then life is grand. Does that sound familiar? It sounds kind of like an American commercial, doesn't it? Or at least a movie. 50 years ago, they used to say Christianity was crammed down our kids' throats. It's hard to watch a movie anymore and not hear that exact message, isn't it? It is you. And you've got the power. You've got the ability. All you need to do is realize it and exercise it, and all will go well. Okay? So those are four kind of big categories. What do you notice? What's been the theme here in all these? Very different chilies, throwing different things into it, not the same type of chili, but there is a consistency here. Do you know what it is? All four of them say the same thing. However you live, whatever the moral life is, it's up to you. You got to figure this out. We'll give you a list of rules. We'll help you along. We'll give you some practices, but this is on you. So Hinduism, you better do what's right because you're going to get right. If not, you're going to get the bad things. Same with Buddhism. You're just trying to get off the bus. You want to get rid of yourself. Islam, you better satisfy this distant God. New Age, it's all about you anyways. It's all on you. Okay? Now, we may agree with what that is, what that moral order is, some good practices, but it's on you. So the question has to be, what if you're not good enough? What then? What do you do when your life takes that left-hand turn and you've done what you didn't think you could do? When you can't quite get it right? When the bodies in your past are stacking up? On your way to becoming this realized, accomplished moral person, and all the disasters are left behind you? What do you do then? See, we come into church, and I've mentioned this before, our tradition here is that when you come in, you are to come up to me and tell me the 5 worst things you did this week. Yeah, no, that's not happening, right? Because once I tell you my 5 worst things, you're probably leaving anyways. right? No, we hide. Our jobs as adults is to put on the best face possible. And yet the truth lurks behind, and you know it. And I know it. What if you aren't good enough? At least Hinduism gives you multiple whacks at the thing here. Along comes Christianity that really stands apart from all these other systems in this way. It can look a lot like them. We have our own book, we've got our own leader, we've got our moral order that we in many ways share with these other ones. But the message of Christianity isn't, here's the pamphlet on what you need to do. Here's 2 stone tablets of the top 10 things you need to take care of. If you get that done, you're good. No, Christianity says, yeah, we believe in right living, certainly. But God believes in one more thing, that you're not good enough. He's not waiting for that to be shown to him. He already knows, right? We can kind of fool ourselves with the 10 Commandments. Well, I haven't killed anybody. I must be doing pretty well. I haven't disobeyed my, well, okay, I haven't lied. I haven't cheated on my spouse. I'm doing pretty well. Do you know what the 10th one is? It has nothing to do with any action at all. You know what the 10th one is? Don't want your neighbor's stuff. Man, I thought I was doing pretty good without killing folks. God had to talk about the inside now, right? It's not just physical performance. He's going, you know what? My order is that something's wrong on the inside. He gave us the rules not so that we could follow them, but so that when we tried and failed, we came to realize that he came to fix a bigger problem. He came to send us a rescuer, not a pamphlet, not great advice, but to go, you cannot do it. We're the only religion that says it. Everybody else says, work, 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 try harder, try harder, try harder. You'll get there. We'll even hold a rally for you. Christianity says, forget it. You're all screw-ups. So, same with the pastor. There ain't nobody good. What you need is someone to come and rescue you, to do what you cannot do. And when he shows up, he doesn't ask if you've done good enough to deserve it. He gives you grace. Grace in this is more than compassion. It's even more than love. It is to give what you don't deserve. Do you see it now? Do you see how this is different from everything else? Everything else is, it's a 1-for-1. You do bad, you get bad. You do good, you get good. God's saying, you do bad, I'm going to give you good. That's what grace is. That's what Christianity is. Now, please understand, Christianity is very concerned about right living. We still have the moral order. We believe in it. God's not chucking that, but he's going, I'm not counting on you, I'm counting on me. I'm going to come and rescue you. Watch how Paul puts it. In Colossians, he says, giving joyful thanks to the Heavenly Father who has qualified you. You understand what the word qualified means, right? You want to get into a race. You want to get into some type of contest. You need to qualify. You need to cross a bar. It doesn't say that you do it. Who does it? God does. He qualifies you for this. It's not about what you can do. He's qualified you to share in the inheritance of his holy people in the kingdom of light. For he has rescued us. Rescued you. He didn't call you up and say, you want to come to my house for a party? You want to be part of this? You were stuck. And he came for you. He rescued you from the dominion of darkness. And he's brought us into this kingdom of the Son he loves, Jesus, in whom we have redemption. Redemption is a big, amazing word in the Bible. It's about taking something that's broken, something that's all dirty and mired, and bringing it out of that bad situation and putting it into the right situation to make it clean and to make it all that it's supposed to be. Not to get rid of yourself, not to get off the bus and just hope it ends and stops. He comes to restore and to redeem and to make you the way that he always wanted to. There's not a single verb in there that we do. How about it? It's a powerful video, what we saw there at the beginning. I would adjust the imagery in one way. I don't think it's about a pit. I think it's about a house on fire, and Jesus is the ultimate fireman. When your house is on fire and you call up the fire department, do they go, hey, we'll get in the mail right now the 10 steps to keep your house from catching on fire. It's on you. Hope you do okay with it. You're like, my house is on fire now. Sorry, guess you should have asked last week. You don't get on the phone and say, fireman, my house is on fire. And they go, have you paid your taxes? You know, we get supported with your taxes. Have you been a good person lately? Do you deserve for us to put out the fire? No, you get on the phone, you go, my house is on fire. And what do? Their body reacts. Adrenaline starts pumping through their veins, and they go, we're going to do what we are created to do. We are going to go and rescue these people. We're going to eliminate this. They get in their trucks and they drive over to your house. They pull out and they stand there and go, if you'll come out of the house, we will help you. We're ready to help you. You just got to do a little bit on your own. If you will understand the badness of your situation, please come out. No. The real firemen run into the fire, right? They don't ask one question, who you are, what you've done, anything, because they're doing what their character is. They come in and they find whoever. They find the young. They find the broken down. They find the passed out. They find the person that's so scared they're trapped in their closet and they can't get out and help themselves. They find that person. They even find the stubborn person. Go, you got to come out of here. They put their life on the line to rescue you. That's what Jesus is. He is the ultimate fireman. He doesn't give you a list of rules. Good luck. It's up to you. I hope you make it out. He's going, I got my boots on, my hat on. I'm coming for you. This is the power of Christianity that says it's not up to you. I already know you're not good enough. No other religion says that. None. Well, that's a nice story. But so what? So we put this nice imagery up of Jesus, but there's one more question. I want to go at this in one other way. One other way to evaluate the different religions. As you think about all the different religions, all of them generally have some type of great moral teacher, and certainly there's no knocking them. Generally, these are very good leaders and people that came to help folks live right. You know, that's not necessarily where they erred. And Jesus did that too. He instructed us. But there's something unique about Jesus in another way. This is from Andy Stanley, and I can borrow it from him because he stole it from somebody else. Because we all know we're all bad, so, you know, we still... So I want to take you to a moment in history that is documented. We've got Jesus on the cross. Jesus has been ministering for just 3 years. He never wrote a book anywhere. Ministering for 3 years, teaching, healing people, and he gets nailed to a cross, right? He gets killed by the Romans at the behest of the Jewish religious leaders. We know this. This is documented by extra-biblical sources. This isn't just from the Bible. We know it from other places. He is killed because, we know that because Romans do their job really well. They take him down. They bury him. His followers are scattered. Only one of his disciples even dares to show themselves at the cross. It's all the women. They scatter. They head for the hills because they're going, I think we're next. There are ones that are going home saying, it's all over. It's done. I can't believe it. I thought this guy was going to be somebody important. And here it ends abruptly. Joseph of Arimathea, buries the body of Jesus. They roll and seal the tomb. Right? That's Friday night. This thing is done. He's done his teaching. Everybody goes, the party's over, and everybody's going home. It's crushing. Go ahead 2,000 years later, and Christianity is the dominant religion on the planet. There's only one question to ask. What happened? The party was over. The guy's dead. File him away on the ash heap of all these other different leaders. He didn't pick anybody smart in the disciples. Didn't pick any scholars. The scholars came later. Picked a bunch of fishermen. And a tax collector, or not tax collector, but a guy that's going to commit suicide because he's like, the party's over. I messed this up. What happened? See, all these other leaders kind of set themselves up. They set up their crew. They set up their teachings, and away it goes. They all eventually died too. With Jesus, it ends this way. So what happened? His first followers go, the resurrection happened. Only something like that could turn this thing around. To go from a backwaters, nobody, spit town place of a guy that had to walk everywhere, didn't write anything, to being a global religion. He came back to life. Nobody else claims that. Nobody else claims to be the Son of God. And the early Christians go, we heard the claims of Jesus. When this happened, they went, we believe it. See, it's one thing to say, Jesus is our rescuer. I'm going to pull you out of the darkness. It's another to say, I have the authority to pull you out of the darkness because of who I am. There is no other moral teacher that we don't laugh at that goes, I'm the Son of God and I'm here to rescue you. That's the two differences, two undeniable differences. They both center in on Jesus. We don't have to go through the whole book. It is about the person and what he has come to do and who he proved himself to be. So that's what he's offering you today. I know many of you have been rescued. You have put your life into his hands. Said, take me out of my burning house. Bring me into the kingdom of light. Qualify me. Maybe you haven't. And you go, well, I believe in God. I believe in, there's a right and a wrong, and I want to be a decent, good person. But I've been living like it's all up to me. And there are things I don't know if I can ever fix. And there are certainly things in my past that I can never make right. Jesus today is offering a rescue to you. And the great thing is we can do it right now if you're ready. You don't have to go home and do your homework. You don't have to go home and dress up right. Do the right thing. right here, right now. You got to be like the guy in the burning building yelling to the fireman, I'm over here, get me out, right? That's it. So let's all pray together. If you want to take this step, pray with me. Jesus, I'm in trouble. I need your help. I need you to rescue me out of my own ways, out of my own choices. I need you to forgive me and make me right and clean, to take me out of the house, my house that's burning down. Bring me home safe with you. Make me part of your family. I recognize who you are and what you have done for me. And I want to follow you. Make me yours. Amen. And on that, the deal is done. You don't need to do a thing. You have been rescued.